Man, I'm out of practice. It was muted. Anyway, let's try this again. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching or listening, this is another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I'm your host, Davin Jackson, also known as D-Jax. Thank you for joining. Again, had a little technical hiccup in the beginning, but we should be good now. I see some people in the comments saying I'm on mute, but I think it's better now. Again, thank you for joining. I know you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, finishing out your weekend, or you're finishing out your work week to start the weekend. I hope everybody had a great and productive week. Some of us not so much, but we keep pushing and we keep striving for greatness. So that's what we do. So again, thank you for joining. See, people are starting to come in. Again, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting me. And if you guys haven't done so already, please tell a friend that we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. So again, InfoSec Unplugged, we're live on three platforms, hoping to do more in the future. But until then, like I said, just tell the people this is how you can find us. And also remember to like, share, subscribe, comment in the section below. Let's get the algorithm up to boost up the views. So now that we got that all out of the way, I am super excited to bring in my guest. He is a security software engineer. He also is a founder. He started his own nonprofit. He has his own company on the side, and just a real smart and intelligent dude. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, Rashad Morton. How you doing, sir? Give you I think you're on mute.
I'm on mute.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
All right. How's it going, fam? How's it going?
Nah, everything is good. Everything's good, man. Thank you for joining. Again, I know you're out there in the heart of Texas. So had to get everything synced up the right way to get you on the show, but you're here now. Yes. So again, appreciate you joining and spending some time with me. For those who don't know who you are, please let them know. Give yourself a brief introduction.
Well, just to introduce myself, allow me to reintroduce myself. No, but for those who don't know me, I'm Rashad Morton. My title, at my job is a software engineer. I consider myself more of a DevOps engineer. Definitely in the DevSecOps field. Currently holding 3 AWS certifications, Azure certification, and skill with Kubernetes, Terraform, and AWS, and on the security side. So that's my story. I started off at the help desk. Definitely started off at the bottom. Got into tech when I was 38 years old. 43 now, so 4 years. I went from flipping burgers at Whataburger. Anybody in Texas know what that is?
Man, I miss Whataburger.
Man,
shoot, I miss some damn Whataburger. That used to be the spot before and after the club.
I'm telling you, you don't want. Hey, but you don't want to be behind that grill, though.
Nah, not at all, not at all. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But it's kudos to you. I'm gonna give you another round of applause there. For you said you started your career basically about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yes, kudos to you. And I mean, and you literally started, like you said, you started from the bottom and worked your way up, and now you're holding several cloud certs and doing some DevOps work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, to go along with that, when I got in the industry, is definitely a lot of paying attention, and kind of, being cognizant of what's going on around me. A lot of us, we go through life day to day, and we don't really notice that, we walk in the grocery store, hey, it's 2 less checkout lanes than it was last week, and you can see that kind of stuff happening everywhere. Automation is really going to kick us in the behind, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, we need to get on the other side of this, and we need to get on the other side of this right now. So, and I'm glad I did it before the pandemic, but that pandemic, if anybody didn't see it before the pandemic, that pandemic definitely woke a lot of people up now. So,
man,
yes, tell the top.
Man, listen, that pandemic.
You used to have to beg people to work from home. You know, you used to have to
Yeah.
like make up an excuse, like a relative died or something. Like you got to make up some crazy excuse to work from home. But this is where it's going now. So I definitely want to provide a support group, unlike what I seen, when I was coming into the industry. Yeah, it's a lot of different, groups out there, but something that we can support each other, and we all congratulate each other. Everybody get us, these certs, and we just congratulating each other, and basically we all mentoring each other, and just providing that mentorship that you normally don't see, because when you get to these jobs, it's only going to be you. It may be you and another brother, or you and another, maybe one or two people, but it ain't going to be like a group of people, you know, like-minded black folks, that are want to be successful in tech. So, I'm
Well,
trying to hit it from that angle.
yeah, and we're gonna touch on that in a little bit. But again, like I said, thank you for joining. And yeah, you back to what you were saying about the pandemic, man. The pandemic showed a lot. And Marcus just said in the comments, yeah, it either helped or hurt a lot of
Mhm.
people. And that's true because like you said, a lot of companies started to see either A, they really need their employees, or B, they really don't. And they started automating a lot of things. And now you notice that
Mhm.
8 or 9 aisles at Walmart or the supermarket started to become more like 4 or 5. Then it turned to like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of people were left out of jobs. A lot of people got laid off and didn't weren't able to go back to their original jobs and were pretty much stuck. So again,
Mhm.
kudos to you for having, the mind frame of saying, okay, you know what, I need to get ahead of this, and got it and get ahead of it. You actually did with jumping in and doing
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
moving in a space that's honestly going to be here for years to come. So you touched on it briefly about, starting from the help desk and everything, but talk about, what that experience is. There some feedback? Oh no, okay.
Mhm.
Nah, nah, it's just some background noise. But so talk about that experience of, starting basically at 38 from the bottom from help desk, and then, grinding your way up to getting these certs to where you are now.
So one thing I am going to say is we have to learn to accept rejection. You know,
Hold on. Gotta throw that in there. Go ahead.
but yes, we got to learn to accept rejection, and that's hard for a lot of people because some of us have been you know told that we were right this whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like we basically had it our way, or for the most part, until we get to this tech chainsaw. So, and what I mean by that, like, it's easy to get a low wage job. You can walk into your grocery store or a restaurant and get a job tomorrow. But these tech jobs, it's a lot different. And definitely, I came into the industry with a mindset that if I don't have a certification, they're probably not even going to look at me.
Mm,
Like, you know, I may be good enough, but you're going to have to look at me to even know that I'm good enough. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
it, I need to be certified. First off, foremost, ain't no talking like, oh, let me just get in tech and see what it is. And no, it's not going to be like that. It's not that. I knew it wasn't going to be that easy. Number one, I'm black. Your skin is your sin. Like as they say. So, I know a lot of y'all notice. When you get in these jobs, there may be other people at your job that other races, and they don't have these certs. You know, I just
Well,
don't even think that way. You're already ahead of the game. I feel like you're being looked at, and all of these people that don't have these certs are going to get phased out. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get phased out. But on that note, I started off with the like most people do, got the A+, the typical cert because I enrolled in this technical school, and they kind of sent me down that CompTIA route, which you know I knock it, but I see the value in it, I guess, if you want to be at the help desk. But if you're trying to like, you know,
It depends on the
go,
cert.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like like
yeah,
if you already know about computers, I wouldn't put you in the direction of the A plus. But if you're
yeah,
looking to get into security, I would probably tell you to check out the Network Plus and Security
yeah,
Plus, and then figure it out from there.
yeah,
But yeah, I wouldn't recommend the A plus to start for if you already know about computers. And honestly, most people do these days. So
yeah.
I
But
I, I
they,
get I get that sentiment.
yeah. Yeah, they send us through that trap though, and a lot of us, we go through that trap, and we get trapped into that help desk position. And once you get trapped into that help desk position, and you start putting those help desk skills in your LinkedIn or whatever, like that's all they're gonna hit you up with. You're gonna get boxed into that. So, I'm trying to, kind of get people out of that box that kind of got boxed into that. At the same time, what I've seen is, because I ran a business, before, I guess I kind of seen the business aspect of companies moving to the cloud. Like, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, why, why, if you had a business idea right now, me and you, we had a business idea right now. Why would we wait till we get all this equipment? We hire network engineers, we, hire, all this staff, hook all this stuff up. Why would you do all that when I can just click some buttons, create an AWS account, click a few buttons, and you know, 30 minutes later, I'm live. you know,
Right. And then
like,
and then you have to worry you have things like scalability. So, a
mhm,
lot of people when they start out businesses it's like, "Oh man, I got to get X amount of servers." And no, but
but
moving into the cloud, you can literally just set up an account and set it up to scale when you need it, and when you don't,
you know,
it removes it. So, yeah, it would be smart. Anybody starting out now should definitely, learn the foundations, and then yeah, take some time looking at the cloud stuff.
mhm. And then for business minded, we're creative. We're creative people. We think business minded. It's a lot of us that have business ideas. You can't tell me none of us could have created Uber. I mean, we've been giving our homeboys rides since the 80s. So like a lot of these business ideas, they're like Robinhood, for instance. It's created with a small staff. Probably like
Yeah.
30 or 40 people. But we get enough of us that are start getting familiar with this technology, and becoming comfortable with it. I think, man, the sky's the limit for us. I mean, we can have $1 billion unicorns, every month, just like they are in India. They just got a head start because their kids have learned it at 5 years old.
And that's the point. That's that's the focus right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us weren't brought up around tech. A lot of us weren't brought up to think we were technically savvy. A lot of us weren't brought up to think that we were smart enough. So yeah, we were behind the eight ball. And the crazy part is I'm not even just saying, people of color, just anybody who grew up in an inner city. You go to these schools who don't have the budgets for it, and they're like, nah, whatever. And then when you start to look at the demographics, yeah, it gets to be a little bit more discouraging, because now you don't see a lot of people who look like you or look like me. um I think they said for tech right now, I think it's like 8% black people and like 4% Latino. So, or Latinx, I should say. And that's, again, looking at it from the outside looking in, is discouraging, because we know what it feels like to kind of be the odd person out. And like you said, tech isn't a let me try it and see what it's like type job,
Yeah.
unless you get a job at the call center, right? Because
Mhm.
anybody can pretty much get a job at like one of the cable company call centers. That's
Yeah.
probably the closest thing you can get to trying your hand at tech,
Mhm.
um, that you can possibly do, because tech is basically show and prove, right? Tech is one of the few jobs out there that there there's really no faking it till you make it in a lot of these roles. You either have to have the knowledge and can apply that knowledge, or you're gonna find
Yeah.
yourself stuck and getting paid,
Yeah.
low
Well,
wages for a
I
long
will
time.
take the. I will take you up on that. There can't be a fake it till you make it to a certain point. And what
That's
I
what I'm saying,
say,
to a certain point. But what I'm saying is, if you want to elevate,
Yeah.
and
You have
start
to be a
making
fast learner.
and start making decent money, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody's rushing to get the quote unquote bag, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's trying to rush through everything rather than actually learn what you're doing and apply it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is at some point you're going to hit a wall, right?
Mhm.
Because you're not going to be able to do level 2, level 3 help desk. You might not be able to do basic security analyst stuff. So now you got yourself stuck, and now you're going to be stuck there until you can get out of that rut. That's what I mean by
Yeah.
show and prove.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah,
So
so
you
now
got to
you
reach out.
yeah, so you worked up, you got your certs, you moved into the cloud space, and now you said your official role is like software
Yeah.
engineer, but you
Mhm.
mainly work in DevOps. For those who don't know, what is DevOps?
DevOps is basically, you know, groups of developers and operations were basically siloed before. So DevOps, to me, it's a culture thing, and it is a culture thing. We're bringing these two teams together and kind of eliminating that silo where they throw code over the wall and you fix it, and if it doesn't work, they throw it back. Basically, DevOps is kind of working with the developers and all the development tools and automating the whole software development lifecycle process. Um, so it's pretty much automated, and it's you can basically put out features. So to think of it from the outside, from an end user aspect point of view, when they used to develop applications, years ago, they may only come out with a couple of features, once a year or maybe twice a year, like a big feature. Well, and that was the old way of doing things. With the whole DevOps movement, um, you can basically release features, multiple times a day. And, you start to see on your app, your apps are updating, every week or, when it's an update, they can basically putting out features, every single day because the whole software delivery process life cycle is automated. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So working with a lot of developer tools, Jenkins, CI/CD pipelines,
Mhm.
um, a lot of DevOps tools, Elasticsearch, Kibana, doing logs, Prometheus. Working with a lot of Kubernetes. But the good thing about the DevOps space, and I kind of backdoored myself into the DevOps space. I definitely did my research, so it wasn't like I didn't know what DevOps was. I heard about DevOps when I was actually when I went to the technical school and I was learning I was studying for the A+. One of the instructors had said something about, man, if somebody knew DevOps, man, we can pay them right now. He was talking about Python or something. I was like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just sounded like a sexy job title too. DevOps engineer. I mean, come on, like, man,
Well, yeah,
you
there's
tell
DevOps
somebody.
and yeah, there's DevOps and DevSecOps and stuff. But and
But
I
you can
think
pivot.
yeah, I think that's a cool role because um one, like you said, that's like we talked about earlier, that's not a fake it till you make it role, right? You have
Mm-mm.
to know, what's going on there, but it
Yeah,
exposes you to so many different technologies, like you said,
yeah,
Kubernetes,
yeah,
elk stacks,
yeah.
everything. I think
Mhm.
that's one of the roles where yeah, you can't really be entry level, but I think something like that would definitely help someone who was entry level of being exposed to
That's right.
so many things. And like I said, it's either
Yeah.
feast or famine. It can either overwhelm that person
Mhm.
or that person can embrace it and be like, man, this is so many different things I can learn,
Yeah.
and build themselves up. So
And I say that is one of the hardest things about telling people about DevOps, getting into the space because it is a lot of different tools and technologies. And honestly, the way it came together for me, like when I was learning about the cloud, like I was just learning all kind of stuff. Like I was in there and then I hear about Docker and I was like, okay, let me play around with that. And I hear about, Terraform and I'm like, oh, let me play around with that. And I just started hearing about all this different stuff. And it didn't really come together until this whole, I got this DevOps position and I see how they're actually using this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's how. But before then, I was just playing around with it. I didn't know how. I was like, okay, all right, that's that, all right, But as you start putting this stuff together and see how companies are using it, you're able to speak on it a lot more. And once you're able to speak on it, and see how companies are putting it together, and you can take your best, you can take what you know from the certification, because it's not that like that certification knowledge leaves you. Like you have all that knowledge from the certifications, and so you know what the best practice is. And some of these companies, they're not using best practices.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you know what how to configure the application or not, you can tell whether or not they're using the best practices. So
No, definitely, definitely. So now, you talked about basically best practices and stuff like that, but you did touch on something about the certifications, and that's a major key right there.
mhm.
A lot of people just think, oh, because I have the certification, that just means I'm qualified to get the job. Um,
Mhm.
you have to apply what you learned in that certification. You have to take that time to say, okay, I took the certification. This is what I was doing. Now, how can I go ahead and apply it? And if you have a job that allows you to apply that, that's a perfect opportunity right there that you shouldn't squander or fumble.
Mhm.
But my follow-up question to you is, where you're saying kind of learning the technologies and taking opportunities to see what's going on and seeing how it's configured. Did you do that on the job, on the fly, or did you build yourself a lab?
I did a lot of labs on A Cloud Guru, a lot of labs on Wiz Labs. And number one, I went ahead and created my own AWS account. I created an AWS account, I created an Azure account, and I created Google Cloud account.
Mm.
And played around on all three platforms, got familiar with all three platforms, went through the tutorials, built some static websites, and just got familiar with the platform so I can speak on it. You don't know what every when you get in these companies, you're not gonna be messing with every single AWS service. So as long as you know the main services and how they work, um, most companies, they kind of stick within a realm of services depending on which team that you're working on. So, like a solutions architect associate, you're going to be learning about a lot of services, but you know, every company is not going to use every service. So you may, start getting more experience in, networking or the security part of AWS or the IAM part of AWS. But I think the DevOps role gives you a lot of experience to all those kind of, you know, aspects, instead of just kind of being a cloud engineer.
Right.
But this, that certification, it definitely it it got me the interview, having the hands-on experience and being able to talk on the technologies got me the job, you know. So and it
that no,
and it wasn't so much of having a portfolio neither. I know a lot of people. This is a good question. Like, should I have a portfolio? Should I not have a portfolio? That all depends. You need to know the technologies. Whether or not you have a portfolio or not. If you can't talk on the technologies and they're asking you the scenario based questions, damn the portfolio.
right.
These companies, they seen portfolios all day long. So do you know how to talk on the technologies?
And you could fake a
You
portfolio.
can, yeah, exactly.
So so real
You
quick,
can flip the script.
real quick, just love to the pack again. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support that you guys have been giving. Every episode for the last, geez, we're going almost on 2 years now. It's crazy. It's nuts because like a year ago, I think I joked that I was quitting the show, and everybody kind of yelled at me. But again, thank you.
Ah.
Thank you to my pack. I appreciate it. For those who don't know the rules already, InfoSec Unplugged, I do this every week, every Thursday. Bring someone on like Rashad to talk about their experiences. So if you have any questions, you can literally reach out and touch them in the chat, figuratively speaking. And they can answer your questions right here live on the air. And you guys know the rules already. You can ask me anything, just keep it clean and respectful. But I do have one more request: do not ask me anything about Will Smith and the Oscars. So with that, I think everything should go smoothly. So again, Rashad, so what challenges have you faced in your career so far?
Um, I mean, the challenge one challenge is, a lot of companies, they don't really invest a lot into training you.
Yeah.
Um, and when I mean like training you, I mean like training you on the technologies that they're using or they plan on using. It's more or less, you kind of got to figure it out. And if you're not the type of person that's really nosy and seeks out information like I am, you can kind of get lost in the mix. So, I've seen a lot of people get lost in the mix just because they're not really nosy and they kind of like wait for people to tell them, go right or go left or, whatever. But, um, you know, as long as you're hungry and you can, outside of work, you can still have a hunger for learning. Um, that's going to go a long way. But I would say, you know, having companies train you, don't really expect that. um,
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time they talk a good game. A lot of companies talk a good game, like, oh yeah, we believe in professional development, and we take like one day off a month for trainings and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's great, but that's not enough, or you don't even honor that.
mhm.
That's one of the things that I fight with constantly. Everywhere I go, every job I go to, I I try to fight to create like a training, almost like a training department. So
Yeah,
when new people come in, for example, as a pen tester, when new pen testers come in, it's like, okay, so tell me what you know about pen testing. This might be different. So, and I went into one job thinking it was a web app pen test. They needed a web app pen tester, and I had to learn API pen testing on the fly,
yeah,
because a lot of time these companies don't actually know what they want or need. So they just kind of throw
mhm.
whatever at the wall, and then they expect you to kind of figure it out, and they kind of and they want you to figure it out, within the confines of the 40 hours you work a week, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, there is some work you have to do at home. There is a lot of training you have to do at home. There's labs, like that's why I asked you about getting that experience, because
mhm.
that's one thing that I enforce to everybody I talk to: lab, and when you think you're
Yeah,
done, you do a little bit more labbing, because yeah, if not, you're going to find yourself in situations where it's kind of like, man, I wish I did know this, and now I have to kind of learn it on the fly. And I think that's where a lot of the security issues come in, especially
yeah,
with the cloud, especially with the
mhm.
cloud, because you have people who aren't really familiar with the cloud
Yeah,
trying to read something or look at a video while they're trying to configure their live network and production, and they might misconfigure an S3 bucket, or they might not,
mhm.
they might not configure their security groups properly, and
Mhm.
now we have a problem. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely, training is a major thing. I wish more companies would take it seriously. I wish more companies would really practice what they preach and invest into
yeah.
training. But until then, like I said, we got to do it ourselves. And even if you do have a company that does practice what they preach and invests in training, still focus on getting some training yourself.
Yeah, yeah, because they're also investing in automation.
Yeah, yeah,
Matter of fact, they're investing more in automation than they're investing in training. So
absolutely.
if I can just automate, this whole process instead of having 10 people on this team, I only need two, I only need three. You know,
Yeah. Um,
so
absolutely.
that's
Again,
that's
I use the Walmart example, right? At some point, they're gonna say
they want zero touch.
it might cost us a bunch of. It might be a big investment up front, but look how much money we stand to gain 5, 10, 20 years from now,
Yeah.
because we invested up. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to cost us however many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to put all this stuff in place, and it's going to cost us another few hundred thousand just for maintenance. But once we get it and it's running like an well-oiled machine, and now we don't need to pay this person, we don't need to pay this person, especially during inflation and while people are still fighting to get higher wages.
Hmm.
you know, it sucks. It definitely sucks, but it's a no-brainer for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, yeah, they're going to get those automation systems whether you like it or not. However, the automation systems aren't going to auto configure.
Yeah,
They're,
exactly.
they're not gonna self repair.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's gonna be running in the cloud.
figure out where the demand is going to be and take it, right. Take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of that. And like you said earlier about getting different accounts, like getting an AWS account, getting all of they're free. They're free.
Yeah.
You can literally set up an AWS account. Excuse me. You can set up an AWS account and you can set it up so it doesn't go over a certain threshold
Mm-hmm.
and you never have to worry about paying a bill. Right? So take advantage of that and build your own VPC, mess around with the different things, see what this option does, as long and stay within the confines of the free tier.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah. And they're good people at AWS. Like if you mess up and go over, like I mean, just create a ticket and email them and tell them, hey, I was practicing something, and hey, yada yada yada, and they've refunded me, they credit me back. So I mean, they're great.
it
Yeah,
depends because
yeah.
I've left some pen test machines on sometimes.
I left the cluster on.
And
they debited my account. I was like, whoa, what?
I said, hold up. I believe there was a mistake here.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, see, Marcus in the comments said I had a $650 bill. I wish I knew that a few years back. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
man. Just email them.
you get a message one day talking about, hey, your bill's due, and you're like, bill, and you look and it's like, oh, it's not even a bill, that's a mortgage or something.
And that's what I like about Azure over AWS, because when you delete resources in Azure, you delete the whole resource group. So like everything that's in that resource group, it gets deleted. But like when you're in AWS and you're deleting stuff, yeah, you got to go through and delete, Elastic EIPs and NAT gateways and like everything. If you create a cluster, you got to delete everything that.
The whole show.
Yes, yeah. So
So so now you started your career, like I said again, and I'm just super impressed at the fact that you said you started your career, like not even 5 years ago, worked yourself up to this point, and now you also turned around and started a nonprofit for the Black Tech Networks. So
mhm.
what was your motivation to do that, and take a moment to talk about what you do over there?
I mean, my motivation to start that group is definitely to provide a support group for other Black people, because um, I don't see too many Black people, at the jobs that I work at. So to have that support group to where we can all support each other and provide resources, and definitely we're going to do a lot more stuff in the future. Get into the college campuses and definitely try to get more people in tech. So to provide, for people that are coming into tech, they're like, you know, glass starry eyed. They don't know which way to go. Put them around people that are in tech. You know,
Mm,
um, and that is going to provide. You want to be, you want to be rich. You got to hang with the rich. Like they say, you want to be, birds of a feather, flock together.
yeah.
So
Put yourself around like-minded people. Yeah.
yes, and like you said, like you were going back before, those people aren't always in our family. Your dad may not be a network engineer. Your, cousin or your brother may not be a cloud engineer.
Hmm.
But we got cloud engineers in our group. We got network engineers in our group. We got cybersecurity engineers. We got recruiters. I mean, people UI UX design. I mean, people from all different areas of tech, in one group. And I think that provides the like ultimate support. You know what I'm saying? Like we all can lean on each other. If I don't, you're not gonna know every single area of tech. A lot of people ask me, about different areas. I don't know every area. I just know my area. But hey, I know.
There are
They haven't.
nobody knows everything about everything in tech, right? Because if you did, that's a very lonely spot. But but even then, you still wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And before you even go any further, I feel like I have to say this because I get a lot of flack, right? And I see there was a comment, I just actually deleted it. But when people talk about, oh, like you said, you have the black tech networks.
Mm-hmm.
People's like, oh, why? That's divisive. Listen, it's not that it's divisive. We're not saying that we're off to ourselves. We're saying that we're networks like this are to help encourage other people who are in that community to bring them in, right? If you want to be a mentor to a person of color, go ahead, please. We need that too. But there
Mm-hmm.
is something that is important about representation. There's something that you know, as much as the ally, and there's a lot of them, and I've had a lot of them on the show, and I appreciate a lot of them, and I give them their flowers all the time. But there are some things that they cannot do. There are some things that they cannot relay to people. So yeah, having having a group like this, or the Blacks in Cyber, or Black Girls Hack, or Tech Sec
Mm-hmm.
Chicks that are for women, or the Women's
Women in
Society,
Linux.
yeah, Women in Linux, the Women's Society
Mm-hmm.
of Cyber Jutsu, these communities are there to help uplift other people. So
Yes.
just because
Yes.
just because a group is trying to uplift a group of people doesn't mean it's trying to push another person out, or delegitimize another group. It's
Mm-hmm.
just we're trying to build people up so we can have that same representation that everyone else does. So that's my nice spiel about it. But if I hear something else about it, trust me, I'm not in a good mood. So,
Yeah. Nah. I
but
look. I gatekeep like crazy, so I don't care. There's like 140 people trying to join the group right now. So, look, I try to keep people in the group that I know we're going to nurture each other, we're going to support each other,
and
and we have to help us before we can help anybody else. We need to help us first.
well,
So that's the most important.
but again, but there's something to be said about helping, right?
Mhm.
So someone on LinkedIn says, follow thought leaders in the industry on social media to learn, expand your network, keep abreast of trends and current events, etc. Absolutely. And I think communities like that, help that, because a lot of people
Mhm.
don't know where to look. A lot of people don't know where
Yeah.
to start. A lot of people, it's like, trying to drink from a fire hose. It's a lot of information, and it's overwhelming for me. And I've been in tech and cyber together now about, well, 15 years now, 15, 16 years. So it's still overwhelming for me. So yeah, these communities are definitely super helpful. But yes, so continue about, the nonprofit, and and the work that you do.
So yeah, so basically, we just want to provide that you know group support to mentor us, and we got a lot of people that are transitioning into tech right now. They're coming from different industries, all kinds of different industries. So, um, I'm very active on LinkedIn and trying to connect with people or responding to people on LinkedIn and making sure people's profiles are right and just providing that extra kind of support that maybe like nobody ever reached out to me, on LinkedIn and was like, hey, if you change this on your profile, this, just little stuff like that, that provide a little feedback that you're not normally going to get, outside of, a group like that. So, and I, definitely try to make a point to try to connect with a lot of, black people that are in the tech field or, at the help desk level, and kind of get them, like what's going on, kind of
Yeah.
get, because nobody's gonna tap you on the shoulder when you're at the help desk and say, hey, and a lot of us they're not gonna tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you should learn the cloud because the cloud is gonna be hot, and that's where you're really gonna make the money at.
Right.
They're not gonna do that.
Right.
So, and a lot of us starting these contract jobs too. So when we start in tech, we're working for a lot of contractors, and they're definitely not really caring about what you're going to do as far as your upward mobility in the company and your career and whatnot.
Yeah, they
So
only
you
care
got to
about
be
whether or not they're going to renew after 6 months or a year or whatever.
exactly.
But no, but to your point, it's important because a lot of people don't know that you can there is up from here, right? Some
Hmm.
people get in the help desk and think this is it. I'm gonna do this for the next whatever, right? I make decent money, and because you get comfortable in that spot, and like Charles shared, we were talking about last week, and then they get complacent.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people don't know that there's other options, or a lot of people don't know that you can take these skills and transfer them into another career, right? You could take the skills you learned in help desk
Hmm.
and move that anywhere in tech, anywhere in cybersecurity, because one thing that help desk teaches you is, the soft skills, the communication skills, moving at a fast pace. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that even exists. And I think one of the important things that you touch on with your group and like the other groups that I mentioned is the mentorship, because they tell you to find a mentor. They don't really tell you how to find a mentor. They're starting to now. Like they're telling you look on LinkedIn. They're telling you look on Twitter. But even
Hmm.
then, you still don't. It still doesn't work, right? I didn't have like the first half of my career. I didn't have a mentor, right?
Yeah.
When I got into cybersecurity, didn't have a mentor for most of it. I
Yeah.
still technically don't have a mentor. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that I talk to that I look up to and take their advice. But as far as like having a mentor to kind of help point me in the right direction, I never had that. And again,
Yeah.
that's another thing that these groups do is help with that mentorship. And it's almost like a group mentorship, like a village. um
Hmm.
but talk to the importance of having that mentorship and helping others kind of guide their career.
Yeah. Well, number one, you know, if it's just me trying to do something and I'm the only one learning about cloud, I have to have a strong focus to really, want to stay that route. Now, if I see a group of 50, 100 people all learning the same thing, I'm gonna feel a little more comfortable that I'm learning the right thing, and there's other people that are going the same route that if I have any questions about it, um, I can always lean back on. And I think that's the real good thing about being in a group. And I mean, we have some awesome people. Like, I mean, everybody in the group is just, I mean, like they're awesome, and um, like everybody's willing to help, and pretty very very knowledgeable, and a lot of people there's people in the group that create their own content, like you and Mercedes, and a lot of other people in the group, and definitely there's I see a need in building us up together because as a group as black folks, we've been beaten down, and not just been beaten down like by the system or slavery or whatnot. We've been beaten down by these companies at these lower wage jobs, and I'm talking about. I mean, I waited tables and worked 16, 18-hour 16-hour shifts and only got one break, making 213 an hour, and
Hmm.
working off of tips. You know what I'm saying? So I already know like the beat down, and like we working 2 and 3 jobs just to keep up, and now all the rent's going up, all this inflation. Like that was before the inflation. So now with the inflation, like it's getting even worse. So,
Yeah.
um, like we definitely have to provide we have to support each other, because like we're really going through hard times right now, and especially people that are transitioning, and trying to make that transition right now. Um, to have that support group like that where, hey, just like today, one of the ladies in our group, reached out to, us about a job offer she just got, and it's like, hey, I got this offer, and, we talked about it. And, just to have that conversation, about, what people are offering, because she didn't know, she can go back and negotiate,
Negotiate.
you
Yeah.
know? So, a lot of people, we haven't been at this level of jobs, right? This level of corporate, you know, corporateness to where there's levels, there's levels to this, and yeah, to mentor people and kind of get them hip to like what's really getting them plugged into what's really going on in the industry. I think it's important. Not just having mentors, that could talk about tech. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about people that actually are in tech. And,
Well,
and, and
and
provide.
you touched on it. Just the fact, like you said, the woman who got the job offer and didn't know that she could renegotiate the salary. I think of Tanisha from Black Girls Hack, and I'm just gonna talk about it because we talked about it at the Sands event last week. Not that I'm putting your
Mhm.
business out there, but she basically told the story about how when she got her first job in tech, it was more money than she was accustomed to making, you know,
Yeah.
regularly. But then when she came back around months later and did some research, she realized that she was like massively underpaid. And this
Mhm.
happens a lot. And that also puts us behind the eight ball because now we have to play catch up to get to that, right? Because
Yep.
now when you get to the next job, you can't say, "Oh, they shorted me 30, 40,000. So now my next job, I'm going to ask for 40,000 more because they're going to look
Yeah.
at you and go, nah, that's not in the budget. We're not doing that. Or you're not worth it. Right.
Mhm.
So you're stuck having to play from behind until you can catch up, if you can catch up. And now you don't get some of these things or some of these
Mm.
perks that other people have. Right. Another thing is working at startups. A lot of people don't know about equity. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know about things like RSUs and stock options and how that can benefit them or if it benefits them at all. Because you can
Mhm.
have some companies who say, "Oh yeah, we're going to give you all these stock options instead of boosting your salary," but they're going to lock you in at some ridiculous price, and then the stock is worthless, so you can't even exercise those options because
Yep.
you're in the negative. So these are things that I think, again, groups and mentorships and meetups, these are conversations that have to be had. And I think for years we were told that it's nobody's business. It's
Mhm.
nobody's business to
Don't talk
know
about
what
the
you do.
salary.
Yeah, don't talk about what you do for a living. Don't talk about how much you get paid.
Mhm.
And that was another thing because
Yeah.
other circles were talking about it. Other circles were like, "Oh yeah, I got this
Even
bonus, and I got right."
even in
Uh,
our households, we don't talk about that.
yeah,
And I'm talking about the black households. Like our parents never told me like what they make or like I never knew what my mom made a year. I
right.
don't know how it was in your household, but I would assume most of the black households like that's a quiet thing. Like nobody really knows how much anybody makes a year, and
Man,
so nobody knows how we underpay. So your kids go start working at McDonald's, get $9 an hour. They kids start and not knowing that
well,
they can ask for 18.
Well, yeah, or like you touched on it earlier, you working at a restaurant and they're only paying you what $2, $3, and then they say because you should make it up in tips, but then they take some of your tips. Like these are things that are constantly done, and it's almost like how do you expect me to move up?
Yeah,
So yeah, I think more groups are necessary, and again, kudos to you for starting that group and
yeah.
mentoring and helping people get into tech, get into cyber, negotiate because that's all important. So we're gonna switch gears real quick because it can't always just be about tech. I see you got the drum set behind you. What are some of your hobbies?
Well, I definitely like playing drums. Music is definitely a big hobby for me. And spending time with my kids. I got three girls. 7,
Mm,
17, and 19.
mm.
So yeah, I know I got some teenagers. So trying to get my 7-year-old is definitely on the tech route, but my my teenagers, I'm still working on them. But my man, yeah, which crazy because they be on tech all the time. So but my
Man,
17-year-old, I think she's gonna come along with it. I've been
man,
telling them to get AWS certified. I feel like kids now in high school they need to be graduating with that Security Plus and the AWS Cloud Practitioner. Let's go. Graduate with that.
man.
At least so
Listen,
you have something to fall back on. Don't
you
don't
never
put me
want
a
you
hundred
never
thousand.
you never want to push your kids, right? You never want to push your kids into your career or like
I
for
know.
like you want your kids to kind of figure something out for themselves, but it's just like
At this point, we don't got time for that. We don't have that kind of time no more.
my
Look
my
how
my
Asians, look how
I think
Asians do it.
my I think my goal right now is, yeah, you might not want to do it, but I'm going to teach you it so it's a backup plan. And like you said, yeah,
Yes.
security plus and some cloud certs. That'll get your foot into most doors, right? So
Mhm.
if you need a little quick summer job, whatever,
And you can work from home and go to school.
or you graduate, you're like these people who graduate and then don't end up getting in the career that you went to school for. Here's something you can do to back it up, and then you'll have, as long as you keep it current and you keep working at it, you'll have years of experience because you're going to be doing it on the side. um but yeah, it's like my kids are so technically inclined, and it's just like, right. And I know they're probably watching and they're probably gonna feel some type of way, but like I talk about it all the time. Like my daughter did, was it the girls who code? I think she
Hmm.
did that for like a year, and she loved it. And then the next year, like the teacher went away on maternity leave and they couldn't find somebody to fill the role. And then she tried to join the tech club in school, but like she didn't make it. And then that was pretty much the end of that. But at that time, she probably could write Python better than me. Right.
Yeah.
And my son's technical and engineering brain at his age is ridiculous. And it's just like, I just need y'all to
Bring it
put
together.
that, you know what I'm saying? Right? It's just like you see them and it's almost like you're like, man, they're walking, they're walking six-figure jobs plus equity, and it's just like,
Hmm. They
eh.
don't even know. Yeah, they don't even know. I was like, yeah, I was like, y'all not creating NFTs yet? Y'all not. You don't got an NFT collection yet? Come
that's
on,
that's
yeah.
that's another that's another story for another
I
day, brother.
know,
That's
I
another
know.
story for another day. All right,
But
so
yeah, we're just trying to definitely motivate the younger generation. First of all, we got to get us involved in tech. As soon as our kids see us involved in tech, daddy's involved in tech, mommy's involved in tech, brothers involved in tech. I think it's going to start coming along, and I think it already is.
I think that the responsibility falls on us to make that happen.
Yeah,
I think, again, you're doing a lot with what you're doing with your group, but I think we need to get out to some of these schools. We need to get out,
yeah,
and we need to get out and get some of these roles. Like I haven't hidden this. I feel like the next phase in my career is probably to move into a teaching or training phase to teach
yeah.
about, cybersecurity, or basic pen testing, teaching it from the very beginning, and working it up. We
Hmm.
need to be in more of those spaces,
Yes,
and
agree.
it's not a comfortable thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. Like that, I'm beating my head here. I'll share y'all right now. This is all the stuff that I'm just looking at just now for some of the things that I want to do, right?
Hmm.
Um, and like you said, since there aren't a lot of us there aren't too many people we can actually go to for help. So we're literally the first ones to do it. So it's challenging, but
Hmm.
most great things come from challenges, come from uncomfortable positions. So more of us need to be in that space. And I know it's a lot to ask because I don't know everybody's personal life. I don't know everybody's personal finances, and that's none of my business. But I think if we are to get the younger generation into it and to help build that diversity from them, because let's be honest, it's done for us. It's a wrap for us,
Yeah,
right? we
yeah.
can we can go on a whole
Uh,
rampage of trying to bring people in. It's not we're not gonna put a dent in those numbers in our for us. It's them that's going to do it. So we need to
mhm,
build them up to be better than us, and bring them along. So
mhm.
that's the challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
And look, and I'm hopping off of my my soapbox. Um.
No,
So,
that's good.
what's next for you?
What's next for me? Just get more experience in my role. Kind of switch into a data engineering role at my job now. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be learning something new. But as far as the group, we're just going to keep building the group, and we want to start building. I have some ideas about starting a Black Tech news channel, just a streaming subscription service, and yeah, I definitely like to talk to you about I think that's a $1 billion idea, honestly, with the people we have in our group, and if we can put something together like that. And just bring the news to people, tech news,
Right.
and talk about these different things about LinkedIn and, these different topics, besides getting on Twitter Spaces, because, that stuff is, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not, look.
There's
If you want to answer,
there's a few. There's
I
a
don't need to
few.
be answering DMs about Bitcoin, Bitcoin people or, crazy, messages. I just want to provide a good, something that will be useful to the community, and we can all benefit from it, and we can build off of that, I think. But going forward, yeah, I think we can come the Black Y Combinator. Y Combinator. I think we need to become the Black Y Combinator of the tech industry and start, incubating our own Black tech startups.
Again, it's going to take some work, and it's going and
Yeah.
incubating and VC stuff. There's a thing that come along with that. That's money. We got that. That's the other piece of the puzzle that we got to figure out. So, all right. So you talked about what's next. So now, what are your goals for the rest of the year?
To get as many people AWS certified as possible. And I'm talking about, like, when I kind of started the pandemic, I was like, I wanted to get 100 brothers certified on with AWS Cloud, and then go to reInvent. All of us, we go to reInvent. 100 brothers and sisters certified on cloud, we all go to reInvent. But then the pandemic hit, so I had to kind of revamp that. But I think with the track that we're on right now, a lot of people are definitely going that route, and that's my goal, to just kind of get as many people certified, as knowledgeable about the cloud, and get their career, build their foundation of their career to where they can just pivot and go. I want to see everybody get to at least 200,000 in income. 200,000 a year in income at least. So
Close,
close.
We'll
you don't got to get there your first year, but I want to get people in that direction, because once we get there and we all there, like, when I ask you for $10, it's not going to be a problem borrowing $10 from me.
Going back to what you were the last thing about doing the incubators and the VCs and stuff. That's when you can have that conversation, when you get a bunch of people, like-minded people, and everybody's making. I'm not gonna say 200 because
that's just a number.
I see those numbers are already starting to scale back. So already, but you get a lot of people making 150, 175, decent money, and and now there's their finances are in order, they got their investments and everything, and now they got money that they can not play with, but they got money they can actually make real change with. That's the conversation. That's when you had that conversation. So
that's my goal. Let's start the foundation. It ain't no point in asking people for money, and we were working at Waffle House 2 weeks ago, or McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we not got it. Like, the average Black household is $200 liquid wealth. So we got to get us into that upper bracket. And as soon as we get enough of us in that bracket, and we get all our stuff taken care of and handled, like, I mean, you can live comfortably in Texas off of $80,000 a year if you got all your stuff. If you're not going to a lavish lifestyle, I'm not talking about having an $800 car note, a $1,000 car note, and all this, flashy stuff. Like, if we just live, content and live a, decent lifestyle, I mean, $80,000 a year is we don't have state income tax, so, if you make a 150 down here in Texas, I mean, you should be all right. So you should be able to give, good $10.
but like I said, but the first thing is, yeah, you got to have that discipline. Real
Mhm.
quick though, Anthea, shout out to Anthea. She says in a lot of states it is illegal for prospective employers to ask your current salary. Instead, they will ask you what you're seeking. Do your research ahead of time and learn the market salary. Salary.com, Glassdoor, and ask industry groups about salaries. No, absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I'm gonna applaud that one right there. Um, yeah. Recently I've been approached by a few people from other companies asking, and they're like, "Oh, what salary are you seeking?" And the first thing well, what's your range? Put the
Mhm.
question back on them, right? Because they're gonna try, even though it's illegal for them to ask you, they still want to know, because they still want to know how much wiggle room they have to play in that salary range. So yeah,
Mhm.
usually if they ask me, I'm going, well, what are you doing?
Yep.
And then from there you can say, nah, I don't think that's gonna meet, that's not the number I'm looking for. Or
Mhm.
I guess we can have a conversation, right? It's all about negotiating and knowing your worth. So again, thank you to Anthea for sharing that gem in there. uh, Friend of the show Anonymous says, praise to the cloud. Yes sir, how you doing? Let's see, Natasha Mosley. And then we have Marcus says he's real close. He's real close. He can sneeze over the line. No, I said, it all like I said, it just depends once you kind of get your stuff in order. Because again, it's the discipline, right? You you
Mhm.
you can get it, but then like you said, don't turn around and now I need to go buy.
Yeah,
I need,
lifestyle
need to
creep.
go buy a Mercedes. I need to go do this. I need to go because now what's going to end up happening is that money's not going to be enough,
Mhm.
right? So great, congratulations. You went from like you said, you went from flipping burgers or making below minimum wage, and now you're making 80, let's call it 80 to a
Yeah.
hundred thousand. And now you took that 80 to a hundred thousand and you ran with it, and you went and tried to get a $400,000 house, and then
Mhm.
you went and got a $60,000 car with a car loan, and your credit ain't all that great, so now they're killing you on the interest.
Yep.
Congratulations, you're back at square one, because now you're sitting there going, I don't make enough money to pay these bills, and you're playing from behind. You're hustling backwards.
Mhm.
So Ty says my next car is a Honda Accord
Yeah.
'93.
Hey, I was happy when before the pandemic I got that little Nissan Sentra 4-cylinder. Man, that was the best decision I could have made. Instead
Man, shoot, I
of
got
getting
I,
like,
I got my car. I actually got a new car right before the pandemic. It was a Jeep. It wasn't nothing crazy, but right before the pandemic, and now because of the pandemic and because of the shortage of computer chips and all of that, the value of my
not
car
more.
actually went up. So now I'm like, I'm gonna refinance it for lower, and now I'm gonna hold on to it for a second and see where we go with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah,
So
they
all
big on
right,
cars now.
yeah, it's crazy. So, final question, sir. And if you've seen the show, I'm sure you're familiar with it. But if you haven't, the final question is, what is your why?
What is in my why? Why not?
Fair enough.
Like, why not? You know, what is my why? Why not? I mean,
That's you know,
if you want to have a simple answer, why not?
well, there you go.
Why get in the cloud? Why not?
That works. That definitely works. All right. So with that, please tell the people how to find you and how to contact you, how to reach out to your network and everything.
Oh, so you can connect with the LinkedIn group, Black Tech Networks. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can reach me on Twitter at coolcap_12. And I am definitely on LinkedIn, Rashad Morton. Go by my name. So you can find me there and follow me there. And also, if you need any cloud training, you can hit us up at blacktechcloudnetworks.io. I do cloud career coaching, and I also do AWS training on Saturdays, and
You
LinkedIn reviews.
you create your own course content?
Um, no, and yes.
So it's like a study group
So
type setting then.
yeah, and because everybody's in different kind of levels of their AWS journey. So I'm more focused on helping people get through the AWS Solutions Architect Associate. So if you're trying to study for a Solutions Architect Associate, let's get through that, and then we can talk about everything else later. But that's my main focus: getting everybody to pass that certification and whatever else comes with that, and get their LinkedIn together, profile together, and let's run with it.
All right. Well, I think that settles that. So, let's see. We're gonna see if there's any questions in the chat. But, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, this has been my guest, Rashad Morton, aka Cool Cap 12.
Yes, thank you for having me, man. I
No,
definitely enjoyed it, and
no, the
yeah,
pleasure is
we'll be
all
talking.
mine, man. We gotta do this again sometime. And yeah, like I said, we'll definitely talk about some of the things that you mentioned because
Hmm.
think it's definitely needed. So we need it in the space. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
we need to
Um,
be at South by Southwest next year.
man, we keep talking about it. One of the things that we had planned to do before the pandemic is we were a bunch of us were gonna like invade DEF CON, right? We were gonna go to DEF CON and we were going to like one night we were all gonna hit the club and just do it up, right? We were gonna
Yeah,
go get a booth.
you trying to
you
scare
know,
everybody?
no, not it wasn't even trying to scare anybody. It was actually with the purpose of we were going to post it all on social media,
Hmm.
right? And the reason being is because we were going to post it to show a bunch of us, like we talked about that representation, a bunch of us,
Yeah.
doing this stuff. And then it's like,
Mhm.
well, damn, what do y'all do? Now we work in tech. None of us is doing anything illegal. None of us are ball players. None of
Yep.
us are celebrities. None of us are compromising our integrity to do stuff on social media. we're
Hmm.
just we're just a bunch of people in tech trying to get by like everybody else. But look, we doing it just like this in the heart of
Yep.
Vegas with everybody, and then
Yep.
COVID said nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? I know, right?
Co- COVID had other plans, but my goal is to definitely make that happen at some point. So
Yeah.
we do have a question. Friend of the show, Ty says, "How do you master negotiation and moving and maneuvering obstacles in tech?" Um, I think those. I mean, those are two. For me, those are two separate things, right? You're going to run into the obstacles in your tech career regardless. So, it's just about knowing whatever it just depends on the obstacle. I'm dealing with obstacles right now personally. And it's just trying to, you don't always have the answer right there on the spot, but it's just trying to figure it out and figure out what your next move is going to be. As far as a negotiation is concerned, I would literally copy and paste what Anthea said earlier about doing your research and checking out salary.com and Glassdoor and getting that information. Now, one of the things I will say is that if you don't have the experience, the hand-on experience to demand the higher end of the salary, then you need to be honest with yourself. Because a lot
Mm.
of people, and I'm going to use this person as an example. Someone
Preach.
went someone went and got their AWS Solutions Architect certification a while back.
Hmm.
This is their very first certification. Never worked a day in IT, but was told that this certification would get them to 140K. So they went and got the certification and couldn't get a job, and then went on LinkedIn and went on this whole rant about where can I find an entry level solutions architect job? And I'm pretty sure they're still laughing at him in the comments, right? Right. So,
Yeah,
so
get the
you have
professional.
you have to be real, but you have to be realistic with yourself. You can't
Mhm.
you can't walk in somewhere with your CEH and say, I want a senior penetration tester thing, right? Unless you got a bunch of hands-on experience, right? Because a lot of people don't believe in certifications and they just lab. But if you can prove that you know it, then go for it. But if you know, nah, there's probably some stuff I should probably work on. Don't don't try to command a higher end. Now, when you know where you're at and you know what people, your peers or wherever they're at, then you can start having that conversation. Um, what's your take on it?
Yeah. No, I definitely echo what you what you said, and I tell people a lot of times, like, I didn't get my first cloud job until I already had 4 cloud certifications.
Mm,
So and I was trying to get into actual cloud position on the AWS side when I was at Amazon with 3 cloud certifications already. Come on, man. I mean, what y'all want me to do? Like,
yeah,
so, and that's where
like,
I
he's
learned
like,
about
I'm
the
literally,
levels.
I'm here.
I'm here. They sending out memos talking about they gonna train 29 million people for free on the cloud, and I'm sitting back thinking like,
Ain't this about a
yo, fam, I'm here. Like, I know
like,
I'm not 29 million, but you can get a head start with me.
like
You know?
seriously,
So,
nah, yeah,
so
it's yeah.
I tell people, like, get used to rejection. Like, just get used to rejection. Like, I was working at Amazon and trying to get a cloud position, and they, because of the level that they brought me in at, and I actually had one of the guys reach out to me from the position that I applied at Amazon. I was applying for internal positions, and a guy reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, everything looks good. I'd like to, set up a time to chat or whatnot." And after he looked at, I guess he went back and seen what level I was, and was like, "Oh, after I looked at the, I got to cancel, the meeting because, I was like, what? So, on paper, I'm qualified, but, because you see what level I got brought into, because we got what we call deleveling. I'm just going to be real. But,
Mm,
that happened. And yeah, so, you
yeah,
know,
not
I definitely take advantage of all the training and all the benefits these companies have to offer. So whether or not you get screwed or you feel like you're getting screwed or not, make sure you're taking advantage of all their training programs and everything, all the free stuff they have to offer, because that's value too. So even
oh
if
yeah.
you're,
Even if you hate your job,
$10,
yeah.
yeah, if you hate your job or you
Even if
get
you
paid a
hate your
little
job,
less, you know,
take
take it out
advantage of
on
what
that
you
training.
can. Yeah, take advantage of. Yep, absolutely. Like, man, I hate it here, but they
Yeah,
got
and
this.
then
They got
then
they
you
got,
can
they got this.
negotiate.
Yeah, I got this. I got my free LinkedIn Learning membership with it, so I'm gonna
Yep.
sit here. I'm gonna do all these little LinkedIn learnings. Oh, they doing
Yep.
lunch and learns. Oh, they doing this. Oh, they letting you go out here and get this training. All right, cool. And now you just make yourself better, and either A, they'll come back to the table and realize that they were wrong and maybe y'all can start fresh, or B,
You put yourself in a better negotiating position for the next job.
absolutely. So Jermaine says, how would you go about getting your first role in the cloud? I'm
Pray.
gonna let you take that one. He's not praying. Nah, listen, we about
Change your name to a no.
no, we're not gonna do that. We not gonna do that. No, honestly, getting your first job, I would just, again, be honest with yourself and look at, look for entry level roles. Look to see if there's internships, paid internships. I'm not telling you to do, we're not doing anything for free anymore, right? That's what doing, meetup groups and mentorships is for. You're not gonna go to a company that's doing millions of dollars in revenue to do free work, unless you're, unless you want to. That's up to you. But I'm not gonna encourage that. But yeah, I would definitely look, be honest with yourself and look what it look at what's out there. Look at the entry level roles, look where you can get in. If you're currently working, see if they have any plans to bring in the cloud there. That can be, you can literally promote yourself, because you can teach them the benefits of the cloud, and then they go, okay, well, we need someone to bring it in. Now you literally have a lab right there on the fly, because they're letting you kind of do it until they can bring people up to speed with it. So, these are different things you can do. I would also, again, look at different groups, look at different, mentors. Go on Twitter, go on LinkedIn, go on the groups like the Black Tech Network, or other security or cloud focused groups, Discord channels, and network. Just network and tell them someone's always looking. Someone's always looking. They just might not be public about it. So
Yeah,
literally, just put yourself out there.
yeah. And to be honest, another disclaimer on that. I do say, like, I didn't get my first cloud job until I had 4 certs, but I've seen people in my group get hired with just a cloud practitioner.
Mm,
So, like,
yeah,
if you can speak on the technologies and you're applying yourself, I mean, you can get hired with just a cloud practitioner. Now, that's not to say that that's the only cert that they have. Say they have Security Plus or something else, but like, you don't have to get a whole bunch of, you don't have to like get every single cloud certification to start going wild. And I
right.
see people start going wild and getting every single certification. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, learn
And,
the
but
technologies.
but there's
Learn
a
the
benefit.
foundations.
But there is a benefit to getting the cloud search, because, for
Yep.
example, AWS cloud, the CCP training is free,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then the exam is what, $100. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you
Yep.
pass the exam, they give you a voucher for half off for the next
Yeah.
one. There's a benefit to it. But yeah, I would definitely, if you don't have any certs, get some, or get some experience, get some hands-on experience. Another cheat code I tell people: create content.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have
Yep.
to be what we're doing here, but
Mm-hmm.
post it on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do a quick post. LinkedIn has like a blog component to it. Post it on LinkedIn, post on Medium, create your own blog site, do a Twitter thread. But
Yep.
these are all things that you can do to push it out here, to say, this is what I'm learning and this is what I'm done. Now, what's going to happen is, yes, you might be met with some criticism if you do certain things wrong, or you just might get met with criticism because people are jerks. But you're going to get the attention of a lot of people who will give you helpful pointers, or tell you, hey, I'm interested in this, or whatever. And then you're
Yep.
also going to get the eye of recruiters, especially on LinkedIn. You're going to get the eye of recruiters going, oh, I see you're interested in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a role for you.
Yep.
So these are all things to do to promote yourself. I tell everybody in cybersecurity, especially these days with social media and blogging and content, you're a brand now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't worry about the company you work for, unless a company tells you you can't. But treat yourself like a brand. So put yourself out there. Obviously, you don't have to put all your business out there, but put yourself out there, and create content around what you're doing, as long as you're not breaking any NDAs, or you're not putting any, PII or sensitive information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and do that. So let's see, where we at. We have another one. If you have knowledge and training but no experience, add to your LinkedIn profile and any home projects that are cloud related. Yeah, absolutely. Work on your project, but and put it out there. Like, this
Yep.
this is my lab I created in the cloud. This is my VPC I created in the cloud. This is my cluster. So this is what you got to. These are definitely things you got to do. So if we got time for about one more question, if there's any other questions.
Now, I would also tell people to start, more at like cloud support roles instead of like jumping right into like DevOps or cloud architect. Like, you're not going to get your first cloud job is not going to be a cloud architect. If you can get in a cloud support role, a cloud support engineer, and start just getting familiar with the technologies and you know dealing with the cloud, and start just adding on from there. And then once you have that experience, you can definitely, when you learn a programming language, learn some other tools and pivot to another DevOps, or pivot to cloud security, or Cloud
micro.
networking.
I was gonna say learn microservices and Lambda
Yep.
functions.
Yeah, I mean everything's going to Kubernetes, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say learn.
Yeah, AWS, EKS, AKS, and
Yeah, like
Lambda, serverless. Yep, definitely.
absolutely. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching and listening, this has been another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I have been your host, Davin Jackson. This has been my guest, Rashad Morton. Again, thank you, sir. Going to give you applause.
Yes. Awesome.
For those who don't know, I am also the host of Hacker Valley Blue, and we will be premiering a new episode of Hacker Valley Blue tomorrow. I'm not sure if I should say who the guest is, or actually, I will. My guest for tomorrow will be Marcus Bowie. He's actually here in the chat, so shout out to him. Well, we're going to be talking about his experience in blue teaming and stuff like that as I continue to build my team of defenders to go against all the cyber threats that we're facing today. So again, InfoSec Unplugged tonight, Hacker Valley Blue tomorrow. And also go check out the Discord channel that Hacker Valley Studios has up. I'll be there. All the other hosts will be there. We're going to do like Ask Me Anything sessions and stuff like that. Please be sure to go check out Rashad's network, the Black Tech Network. Join his groups, get some mentorship done. And I will see you all next week. Next week, I will have Adrienne McClanahan on from the Flash Tech Summit, which is also powered by AWS. We're going to talk about her experience, and we're going to talk about what she's doing to actually help get young people into tech and the cloud. So we're just going to continue on with this cloud thing, and hopefully we'll get some people to convert over. In the words of Anonymous, may the cloud protect you forever. And if you seek the cloud, the true cloud, it will reach back to you. So with that being said, I'm going to log off. Like I said, make sure you tune in to Hacker Valley Blue tomorrow with my guest, Marcus Bowie. And I will see y'all next week with Adrienne. Again, Rashad, thank you. You know how to reach me, sir. And I will
Yes.
talk to y'all later.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too.